Well, hello everybody. I am so happy to be sitting in front of this very special young man who is my friend Henry Fraser, who will tell you his own story. But from my perspective, is someone who is the master of resilience, the captain of positivity, and somebody who inspires others to be their best selves. So welcome, Henry, to the podcast. It's great to have you here.
No, thank you very much for having me on, and yeah, great to speak to you and see you again.
Oh, it's great that we can have things like Zoom for us to be able to chat all these thousands of miles away. It's been a while since we've been able to catch up in person thanks to COVID.
Yeah. That'll
Yeah. So I just wanted to you, for those who haven't heard of you or don't know your story, if you might be able to just start with your story and just how you came to be the predominant author and mouth artist that you are today.
So for me, it all started back in 2009, July 2009. I was on holiday with my mates after our exams, as you know, a bunch of 17-year-old boys want to get away for a week. So we flew down to Portugal, to the Algarve on the south coast, and you know, just usual lads holiday away, a lot of time on the beach, going out in the evening, getting up late, pretty much repeating the same thing each and every day. And the fifth day of a holiday, we're mucking around on the beach with a rugby ball. In the middle of summer, it's boiling hot down there. I decided to kind of run, go cool off in the sea, as I had done the previous days, the exact same thing. This time, kind of slightly different part of the beach, slightly different part of the water. I ran into kind of what I thought was a good depth, dive forward, and my head I went head first pretty much into a wall of sand, and I opened my eyes expecting to get up and go back, join my mates on the beach, start thinking about the night out we're going to have. But I opened my eyes, just lying there in the water, completely unable to move, just kind of staring down at my arms, just dangling in front of me. And yeah, from that moment on, just everything in my life changed. Luckily, a couple of friends close by, and I managed to kind of get my face half out of the water. They asked if I was okay. I said no. They quickly dragged me onto the beach, and then from there, an ambulance was called. Then I was taken to a field, then airlifted to Lisbon. So kind of halfway up the country, away from friends, away from family. Kind of no one knew where I was at that point either. It was kind of just a scary, anxious time. And my parents had found out through a friend, one of my friend's dads. They called around kind of all the hospitals in Lisbon, find out where I was. So they flew out the following day to be there with me. But yeah, from that time, I then spent 3 weeks in Portugal, where I had kind of a few pretty bad illnesses. MRSA, I had pneumonia. My heart stopped a few times. I had a pacemaker fitted. I had surgeries to realign my neck because I dislocated the fourth vertebrae, which subsequently dragged the spinal cord with it and severely crushed it, leaving me unable to breathe even, and now unable to kind of move anything from tops of my shoulders and down. And then 3 weeks in Portugal, and then flown to England, where 2.5 weeks in intensive care, and then spent the next kind of 5.5 months working my way through hospital to try and get out and live my life again. And that year I went back to school to complete my A levels, and from there everything's just kind of it's all been about adapting and kind of living my life and trying to live it the best I can.
Yeah, and that was 12 years ago now, wasn't it?
Yeah.
So I remember you talking about the moment that you found out that you wouldn't be able to walk again. Do you want to talk us just through that, because it was in quite an unorthodox way and sort of quite a shock to you at the time. Do you want to just talk us through that moment that you're told that sort of impactful news?
So it was in Portugal at the time. One of the senior nurses came over to me, and he just kind of pretty much just told me flat out, you'll never be able to move your arms and legs again. And I was on a lot of medication at the time, a lot of drugs. So my mind wasn't really kind of fully focused, but that kind of really, for that moment, I still felt the shock and kind of, I don't know, yeah, I guess devastation in a way of being told that news as a extremely active 17-year-old boy. I've just been told, all my movement's gone, it's been taken away from me. At the time you kind of think it wasn't the best way to kind of break news to someone. It was not. But looking back, I think it's the best way to do it is to kind of be honest with people in that moment. Just tell people how things are. There's nothing worse in this world than giving people false hope to kind of let them drag on by living in a world that isn't real. It's not truth. It kind of being told the truth and those things allows you to kind of accept it and move on, because you know exactly where you stand. You know exactly what you can and cannot do. Yeah, at the time, like I said, I was probably a bit angry at the guy, but I think it was the right thing to do.
Yeah. And I guess also it's a really big reminder to us that as humans, we love to control, or love to think that we've got control of everything in our world. And actually, the reality is we don't control much. So being put in that sort of situation is a stark reminder for us all, I think, that we like to think that we can kind of move the pieces for the bigger picture, but essentially we're not in control of much.
Yeah, definitely. That's kind of thing. Everything that over the years that I've been kind of taught, everything I've been through is, I've, with limited movement, with limited things that I can do, it has allowed me to focus much more on the things I can control and, things that I can do. And in that way has made me more capable, allowed me to do more things I never thought I could, because I know exactly what I can and cannot control. I know exactly kind of moving forward what will work for me, what won't. I'm not kind of wasting time on things I know aren't right. And it's in the second book as well, I talk about my kind of independent dependence, I call it, where I need people to kind of do everything for me, to kind of get me dressed, to brush my teeth, to feed me, to give me drink, to do all those things, the most basic things in life. But allowing myself to accept I need those things, and then allows me to focus on the things that I can do and I can control. Things like I don't need people to think for me, to be creative for me, to be tenacious for me. Those are things that I'll focus on and I can do, and I won't worry about the rest because I'm not in control of that. That's stuff that it will just waste my energy and waste my time.
Yeah, I think that's a really good point, isn't it? And really interesting, because pre-accident you were quite a warrior, weren't you, and an overthinker. And you say that out of your your three siblings, out of the four of you, you were the one that used to overanalyze and worry about things. And this experience has really flipped that over for you. So do you think it was something that you had to sort of dive straight into and go, well, I can't worry about stuff anymore? Or do you think it just naturally evolved as you became more and more accepting of what had happened to you, in terms of that sort of overthinking, overanalyzing, trying to control things but you couldn't, and now all of a sudden because you have really changed in your perspective of overthinking? Hey.
Oh, definitely. Yeah, I mean, that side of me is, I'm a completely different person now to how I was before the accident. And yeah, I think it was something that definitely happened over time, as kind of I built that kind of full moment of acceptance what happened. I think about 13 months after my accident, that allowed me to just kind of really not worry so much, not stress. I've kind of over those months I'd kind of learned new tools, new coping mechanisms, ways of dealing with things that I didn't have before, or I didn't know about before. I'd always go into every situation worried about the outcomes, always thinking about the worst thing that could happen, rather than thinking, oh, actually, if I give this a go, maybe this might lead to this thing or that thing. And if it doesn't work, it's fine. It's not an issue. It just means that I know it's not right for me, so I'm not going to do it. Or if it kind of does work, then I know how to kind of adapt going forward and change how I kind of take on those situations. But yeah, it's definitely took time. And again, it's one of those things that whenever I talk to people about this, is time and patience are the kind of the key factors in all this. These things don't happen overnight. They're not sudden, immediate changes that we experience. There might be a moment that kind of gives you that jumping off point to move forward, the turning point. But you've got to work through these things. You've got to just allow yourself time. You've got to be patient with yourself. And if you do that, then you can kind of overcome and change your mindset on anything.
Yeah, it's interesting you should say that. So I teach quite a bit of mindfulness with my coaching clients, and I've just come off the back of a 10-day Vipassana silent meditation retreat. And, different but the same in the fact that it takes patience to learn a new skill. But the way they do it in Vipassana is you sit on the floor with a couple of cushions for the best part of 10 hours, and you can feel every muscle in your body crying at you. And the basis behind the technique is that to accept the reality of what it is rather than what you want it to be. And I think that your scenario and your situation, you've been such a positive example of somebody who has accepted the reality for what it is, rather than living in this denial or going down the more sort of dangerous route of blame and not being able to accept the reality that you're with. For me as an onlooker, it's just been brilliant to see you evolve over the years and make what potentially could be a really, really tough scenario. I mean, you're taking away all of your hopes and dreams of being a sports person and all of the other dreams that you have as a 17-year-old, but being able to take what you've been given and flip it on its head and become such a superstar in your own right has been brilliant to watch.
No, thank you. Thank you very much.
So with regard to your mental fitness regime, I mean, obviously you've got a really good sort of support crew. Tell us a little bit about what your kind of mental fitness regime is. Do you have any mindfulness, or do you just kind of rely on your family and your friends to keep you going? I mean, what's behind the resilience that you've got?
For me, I think the first thing I really did was I practiced a lot of gratitude early on, which I think is key. Is right. I mean, it is the most mood enhancing thing that I think we can all do, is look around us and the things we have, the things we're able to do, and feel grateful. And it's not about kind of, going back. So for me, I used to early on, especially wake up in the morning and think about all the things that I'm grateful for, and things that made me happy, made me smile in the morning. Because it put my mindset immediately on a level where I'm happy, so that anything that came at me later on in the day, I know that I'll be able to kind of handle it in a much better mindset. And it's one of the things when I talk to you about practicing gratitude, it's not about just kind of going through a tick list of stuff you feel you should be grateful for. And if you're grateful for something that doesn't make you happy, then don't throw that one away. Find things that you're grateful for that make you happy, make you smile, because then those things do make you more positive, do make you kind of put your mindset at the start of the day in a happy place to do things. Otherwise, you're just going through a list and it's just a monotonous thing that you kind of feel you have to do, rather than something that actually has a positive effect on you. The other thing I do that makes me happy, that keeps me kind of on this focus line, is routines. Routines in my life are key to keeping me. So basically, my morning routine every day is exactly the same, from waking up to the moment I have breakfast, is exactly the same. And for me, that allows me to kind of not worry about that bit. I don't need to think about that bit, because I know what's coming up. I know exactly what's going to happen. So later on in the day, something does happen, again, I'm in a much better place to deal with it. I'm not already stressed. I'm not already kind of aggy. I'm not going to then deal with that following situation badly, and that will lead to kind of consequences of making things worse and worse for me or the people around me. So yeah, that's big. That's big key for me. And even when I go out and give talks, and when I do my public speaking and stuff, the routine I have, I pretty much wear the exact same clothes to every talk I give. I do the exact same breakfast before every talk, because it means that again, I'm just focused. I'm not worrying about those things, because public speaking makes me nervous enough already. I don't need the other pressure of all those other things. going on in my life to kind of throw me off. It means I can just focus on what I need to focus on, deal with any nerves I have to deal with, and make sure that, you know, again, I'm in the right mindset to enjoy the moment and kind of have fun with it.
Yeah, it's brilliant that you should say that. And going back to the gratitude piece, I've seen before with clients and friends, they're like, oh yeah, okay, well, I'm grateful for my friends, I'm grateful for my kids. And it might be that they've just had a massive row with their kids, or there's just something going on for them that's just not feeling quite right. And I always go back to the feeling. And, you know, it's not about writing down what you think you should because somebody might read it. It's about really feeling it and owning it, isn't it? And when you feel it into your soul, like you say, you cannot not smile and get that little ounce of, oh yeah, okay, today might change. So gratitude is something I very much am a big supporter of when it's done in the right way. And like you say, when it comes down to just writing a list, oh yeah, the sunrise or the food, and you do it as a shopping list, it just becomes a meaningless exercise. So bringing that feeling in so that you get the warm and fuzzies just is the game changer. Hey.
Definitely, 100%. Yeah, I mean, in so many other parts of our lives, we kind of go through monotony of just kind of just doing the same thing, or you know, we feel it's kind of, but that we need that gratitude to take us away from that to make us feel good and happy and joyous.
Yeah, and it is the little things as well. We don't have to look at the big things. And your brothers, you've got 3 brothers. Whenever I've been round to your house and they've been there, it's always been highly entertaining. How has the last 12 years impacted them, and how important was having a sense of humor through all of this? Because there was, in your family, there was no going to, I mean, obviously you have your serious moments, but the banter level's pretty high. What's it like growing up with those 3 boys by your side?
I mean, I'm extremely lucky to have the brothers that I have. We're all always very close as brothers. You know, as a thing, mum and dad always wanted us to be as close as we can as brothers can be. And we are, you know, we was always competitive household, always 2 and 2 out in the garden, rugby, football, cricket, tennis, and any sport we had, it was always highly charged, competitive moments, and probably a bit too much. But yeah, it was great fun. And you know, obviously when I had my accident, it was you know, it wasn't just my life that changed, it was theirs as well. And one of the big things for us early on, so they came to see me the second day after I landed back in England. Mum brought them in to see me that morning, and it was an extremely emotional moment, a highly emotional day. We're all just in pieces. You know, there's a moment when I was in that water where I thought this moment would never happen again. There's, you know, they didn't know what to expect. They hadn't seen me for, I mean, the last time I saw them I was a kind of gym going 17-year-old rugby player. Now they came in, I had all these tubes in me. I had kind of apparatus doing my breathing for me, all this stuff, machines keeping me alive. And I think the one big thing we did then was we didn't hold anything back. We just let it all out at the moment they came in. We're all in pieces, tears everywhere. It was, but you know, that was part of our healing, and that was, looking back, it was an extremely important moment for us because it meant that, you know, the acceptance wasn't there at that point, but we realized the situation was bad. We're not going to try and kind of hide that fact. We're not going to try and tiptoe around that fact. We knew it was a very serious time, and releasing that stuff early on meant that we can move on pretty quickly to just being brothers again and being a family. We weren't thinking about, you know, all the stuff that's happening with me. We were just brothers. I wasn't in that hospital bed. They weren't sitting there kind of with me. We were just a family. That was all that mattered at the start. And yeah, having them with me, having them on this journey with me has been amazing. And yeah, like I said, I'm very, very lucky that I get to call them my brothers.
Yeah, they're good chaps, all 3 of them. And your mum and dad, they are amazing souls, and I have to say, I can't wait to come back and have some of your mum's cooking again. The support that they've given you has obviously been next level. How important do you think having a good team of people around you is when you're under stress?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, mum and dad were kind of there from the second day after my after the accident, and it was a big thing for them to be there with me. They kind of experienced it, whole thing with me. So yeah, again, very lucky for what they've done for me, and having that support network has been, yeah, it's been immense for, and not just me, but for my family, kind of the extended network that we've had. You know, I mean, you've been a huge part of that for me as well, and it's been yeah, it was kind of at the start when it all happened. Everyone knew that my mum's a feeder. Everyone knows that. Yeah, I mean, she tried to make us four boys as fat as she could, but we did enough sport that it didn't work. Backfired on her. I mean, she had to cut me. But yeah, it was. So when mum was in hospital with me for pretty much the whole day, uh, friends and people would just come by and drop food parcels on the doorstep without kind of without them wanting thanks or kind of recognition for what they did. They just wanted to kind of be there for us and support us. And you know, food in our family and that environment around the food for us is huge. And you know, having people do that for us was incredible. It meant that my brothers could eat well, and you know, if those leftovers got to bring it to the hospital, I mean, they're never really leftovers. They just kind of smashed it all.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
you know, things like that. Having all those people around you was huge because it meant that mum could be there for me and by my side. It meant my brothers could come visit me. They were kept kind of happy, and you know, it's those little things that people do for each other that we can all do for each other. It's and no matter how big or small kind of you think it might be, any gesture, anything that you do for someone when someone's kind of hurting physically or mentally will have a massive impact on them. And I think it's
Yeah.
kind of people should never, ever, and ever underestimate kind of the power of your actions with people, no matter how small it might seem.
Yeah, I wholly agree. And you every now and then create these fantastic merchandise, the your little quotes that you put on, and hoodies and t-shirts. And one of the most impactful ones is the one that you wrote about every day is a good day. And when I wear that jersey down from the dog walk or into the shopping centre, it just brings a smile to people's faces. And even the non-verbal acts of kindness, like wearing a top that makes people smile, is really important. And I think it's just those little acts of kindness for people who are going through hardship, but equally just being a nice person just because you can, really does make a huge impact. And you don't need to wait for something catastrophic to happen quite to the extreme that you had for it to make an impact. Hey.
No, definitely, yeah. I mean, it's kind of you never know what someone might be going through in a day. You never know kind of what's going through someone's head or how they're feeling, and just yeah, like I said, just being kind to someone, just being nice, and not expecting anything in return. Just
Yeah.
being, like I said, just a decent, kind human being is great because you never know the impact that might have on that person, and you know they'll carry that forward, and so on with and so forth. It's yeah, it's got to. I think we can all kind of should be able to find the joy and happiness in everyday life, no matter how again, no matter how small it might seem.
Yeah, and I think it's particularly relevant for everybody that's been impacted by COVID as well. The mental health has obviously been on the rise with people being isolated from friends and families. People haven't been able to see people that they love and care about. What sort of advice would you give to somebody facing hardship, be it in that mental headspace, to kind of give them a bit of hope?
Yeah, I mean, so for me early on in lockdown, one thing I decided to do a couple of weeks in was to not think about the end, not think about when this thing might be over, because you know we didn't know, we have no idea, especially at the start, we had no idea kind of what was going to happen following week, following month, few months time. So I decided to, like I do with most things in my life now, is just reduce it down, and I decided to reduce it down to just taking each day as it came, and kind of wake up in the morning, and then you know going through my routines, feeling grateful for certain things, and then getting up in the day and enjoying the small things that surrounded me each and every day. Even though I was stuck at home and doing the same thing each day, you can, you know, we expect in our lives, we kind of always shown through, you know, TV or advertising stuff, things that make us happy should be, buying expensive stuff, a new car, moving house, fancy clothes, all these things. Whereas, with that your level of joy, you miss out on so many moments of happiness, so many good things each and every day.
Yeah.
When you reduce down to, a cup of tea, seeing the sun come through the window, looking outside, seeing the wildlife in your garden, seeing things that just make you smile. And when you reduce it down, when you bring your base level of joy to a cup of tea or tea with biscuits, whatever you want to be, suddenly realize actually you're surrounded by all these moments. The reason why kind of negative things impact us so much more is because they are few and far between in our lives, negative moments. We just overlook the kind of happy and good things that occur countlessly in our days because they are so regular. We just become kind of numb to these things. Whereas if you kind of sit back, open your eyes and look around, you suddenly realize actually there are these happy things, and the negative moments then suddenly seem much smaller. They don't impact as much. And then suddenly when you have even bigger happy moments, they're kind of bigger and greater than we could ever imagine.
And that is so beautiful and so true about the tea, Henry. You know me too well. But going back to Vipassana, when you're taken away from your everyday life and you're put in this kind of very artificial situation where you can't talk to the people around you, you're literally sitting in your own pain, meditating for these certain periods of time. It is the little things that you become aware, because all of your senses become so much more heightened. And just the taste of a cup of tea that you would take for granted on any other given Sunday, it's absolutely sensational. And then for me, you ate breakfast, lunch, and then you just had a small dinner. It was like some fruit. But the taste of an apple, which again, ordinarily you would just munch an apple on your way to school drop off, or just down that quick cup of tea in between clients or what have you. And for me, who is a very grateful person, it amplified the little things are the things that give me the most joy. And yeah, that's super advice for anybody who might be just looking at their life on a big scale, just controlling the controllables and looking for those one or two little things that you can just sit and be happy with. I remember when Jack came to see you, and it was just before we moved over to Australia, and he would have just been around about that 3 mark. And I think I was giving you a massage, and I can't remember, I think it was Dom that was due to look after him. And he came up and he was absolutely drenched, and he was wearing one of your t-shirts because I reckon Dom probably just gave him a quick rugby tackle into your pond.
What are these?
But one of the things I remember is Jack thinking that you were like a real life superhero. He just thought, he was right into Batman at the time, but he thought that you were the bee's knees. And because we left when he was so little, we obviously haven't had the opportunity to see you too much, but you've been a very prominent person in our life, and a big role model. So we go into the schools that they're at, both kids are at, and we do talks about you, and we show them your mouth paintings. And the kids actually have all done, a group of 30 kids have all got their paintbrushes out and done their artwork. But for him, he just, at that young age, could see, because physicality is so important, he got to see a different side of things, and how that you can be creative with your mind when you're not using your body. And he just was blown away by that. And it's been brilliant to see you evolve in terms of having a voice for the disabled community. What lessons do you think we can learn, and how can we support the disabled community? Because I've got a client who's got cerebral palsy, and one of her biggest frustrations is that she might be out with me, or she might be out with her PA, and the people automatically speak to the person that's by their side, and they just assume that she hasn't got anything to contribute, and that really does frustrate her. How can able-bodied people support the disabled, and what sort of lessons do you think we need to learn so that we see you as superheroes and just normal, well, not even superheroes, but normal human beings that have a voice, rather than something to be scared of or not really sort of sure where to angle the conversation?
Yeah, well, I mean, that's the kind of final thing you said is kind of the main thing. Yeah, people feel is, yeah, they're scared, they're worried about how to talk to a disabled person, but you know,
Yeah,
disabled people are just like anyone else. You know,
yeah,
we all, each and every one of us lives our lives differently to each other. We all rarely do the same thing.
yeah,
We all have different routines in the morning. We all kind of brush our teeth different ways, pretty much. And you know, we all have those things, and I think it's just seeing that as a given for anyone, disabled or not. We're all different, so why suddenly should someone in a wheelchair, or someone, you know, a blind person with a cane, or you know, someone who's being pushed around by someone else, should that kind of separate that? Should that kind of create a barrier, a wall between us? And I think it's just, you know, so asking questions, it's allowing and getting kids, like, you know, same with Jack, it's great that, you know, he's able to see that and understand it, because it shows him, you know, kids always talk, you know, we're quite rigid and kind of how kids are taught things in life is kind of very linear. There's not really any kind of sway from that line unless parents are willing to kind of take their kids and show them different things and different experiences, and you know, showing how different people paint, how different people write, how different people just live their lives, suddenly allows kids to grow up accepting differences. They don't see it as, well, they don't see it as being different, they just see it as normal life is. I think, yeah, it's the key thing is just talking to someone as if they are human, is talking to people as you know, you want to be spoken to or talked to. It's,
yeah,
and you know, disabled people aren't kind of scared or worried about talking about their life or anything. Most welcome questions, most are willing to say, look, I am just like you, I am just a normal regular person, so you know, let's talk like that, let's go out like that, let's do things like we are just two of the same. And yeah, I think that's the best place to start for people. And you know, hopefully if, you know, everyone can do that and see life in that way, it'll be, things will start to change.
yeah, yeah. Important. I think it's also not just the disabled, it's also when I've noticed if people are going through hardship themselves, so it might be a marriage breakup, or it might be that somebody in their family has died. The feeling is that people are avoiding, or because they don't know and they're scared of having that more vulnerable conversation. So I think it's sort of opening up the kind of side of ourselves to say, well, you know, they just want to be heard, they just want somebody to say hello and have a voice.
Definitely, yeah, it's, yeah, that's the thing, is, yeah, we are so scared of just of kind of offending people and doing that. But I think most people, like I said, are willing. People want to share. People want to kind of open up, because it makes us feel better and it makes us kind of happier and able to move on and get on with our lives much faster. And yeah, if someone's not feeling right, ask them. If someone, you know, just talk to people. Just, we've got to talk more.
Yeah, I think that's the key, isn't it? Just being open to having that chat, and you never know what impact that's going to have on somebody else's day. Hey, listen, I know you're really, really busy, so I've just got a couple of questions from the children. Every time I do a podcast, I ask my two kids to throw in a question. Obviously, they know you pretty well, so this was an easy one, but it's quite entertaining listening to some of the questions that that they don't have a clue who the person is. But that's the beauty of children, right? So Jack would like to know, what is the most expensive painting that you have sold? You don't have to tell us the price, but out of your amazing artwork, what's the most expensive one?
Well, the one, it was a charity dinner. It was an open commission for someone who was bidding for it, and it was a big rugby event. The people bidding for it definitely way too drunk. The final bidder bid, I think he paid about 20 grand for it. I would like to say I didn't see a single penny of that, which, yeah, was gutting, because I should have made it with a charity if I knew he was going to go for that much. But it was
I love it.
Yeah, I mean, it was yeah, he definitely overpaid because this was quite early on as well. So I think painting for a couple of years maybe. So yeah, I don't think it'd ever be worth that much. So he's probably ruining that moment in his sleep every night.
Oh, I very much doubt it. I very much doubt it. Oh, that's brilliant. So it wasn't one of the ones that you actually did a commission for him. So it wasn't one of the ones that you sell. Okay, all right, I'll let him know.
He was a Saracens rugby fan. He wanted the wolf for the wolf pack, and it was the year Saracens won the doubles. So he wanted the trophies in it as well. It wasn't kind of the most enjoyable one I did, but I had to do it.
It'll make for a good story every time somebody goes to his house, though. And Sienna would like to know how she hasn't read your second book, The Power in You, but and that's the answers in there. But she'd like to know how you have a shower at H.
Yeah, so in the morning, so I have a living carer, kind of on 24 hours, and so in the morning I have carer come in, wake me up, and give me my tablets in the morning, and then I get hoisted out of bed and into a shower chair. And the hoist is kind of, we put a sling under me. It's kind of a bit like a hammock that gets kind of put under me. Then the hoist is basically like a small crane, get into the shower chair and then into the bathroom, and yeah, just have the kind of carers give me a good wash, good kind of good shampooing, and then sit under the shower for a little bit at the end. Feeling the nice comfort of the warm water. Another thing to be grateful for. Another thing that makes me happy in the morning. And then then it's from there, get dressed and try and crack on with my day.
Happy days. I'll let her know. I have a feeling next time we come and visit, there'll be some requests to go in a hoist. So Henry, you've written 2 best-selling books. You are a huge advocate for the people with disabilities. Your artwork is sensational, and I have to say most of my time goes on browsing through what's the next piece of art that's going to go on my wall. You have met Thierry Henry, which to me is the biggest achievement of your career. What's next for you?
Next is, well, at the moment, I'm currently in the final stages completing my new house. So that's kind of the next big thing for me, is moving out and kind of gaining that final level of independence in my life of, living on my own and taking full control of things away from mum and dad. And so, yeah, that would be a next kind of few months of me of adapting to that. And one of those things where I just have to, again, just take it step by step and kind of learn along the way. There'll probably be a few mistakes that I'll make, but it's one of those things that I've got to do, and it's come at the right time for me in my life. The kind of past 5-6 years have been pretty hectic, pretty busy with the art, with the books, with kind of things going on. So I think it might be nice kind of next 6 months, kind of chill through that, and then next year, I guess, see what happens.
Yeah. Oh, well, I can't wait to have a Friday bagel with you. I know that bagels are your Friday thing in your new house.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
For anyone who doesn't know Henry very well, he loves his Friday bagels. So I'm just going to finish up with some quick fire rounds. So basically either or, and some of these ones are going to be quite a test for you, H, I reckon. Again, some of the kids came up with some of these. So I'll just say either or, and you tell me which ones, and then we'll make it a wrap. Okay. Rugby or football?
Rugby.
Painting, portrait or abstract?
Abstract. No, portrait.
All right, I'll let you have that one. Red or blue?
Blue.
See the future or change the past?
See the future.
Oh, interesting one. James Bond or Jason Bourne?
Or Bourne.
Yes. There's a reason we get on so well. Pub or club?
Pub.
Friday bagel or Arsenal winning the league?
Oh my God. bagel, because it's going to happen more often.
Oh, awesome. Okay, well, I'm speaking to Nigel Winterburn in my next podcast, so I'll let him know you chose bagel.
Oh, don't tell him I said that. No.
Too late. It's on air.
No, Nigel, I can't have him coming at me for that.
Well, at least it's a bagel and not, you know, a fruit smoothie or something. I think maybe he'll come up. He might be able to let you off for that one.
You never know.
Well, Henry,
you might be a bigger fan of bagels than me.
Well, he might be. I'll put that in a quick fire round for him as well and see what comes out. Oh, Henry, it's been so special to have you on air. I really do appreciate your time, and you're a great mate, and you've just done some amazing things for so many millions of people. So thank you for being the inspiration, the humble inspiration for all of us. And yeah, I look forward to catching up with you again, maybe in your new home next time.
Yeah, hopefully. Yeah, thank you again for having me on, and thank you for your support, continued support over the years. It's meant a lot. So thank you.
No worries. It's always a given for you, mate.